Travis Wayne Goodsell. So isn't it awesome to have a true and living prophet of God who leads us and guides us and walks beside us and helps us find the way, teaches us all that we must know, right? It's awesome. He's the true shepherd. And a shepherd is one who's hired by the owner of the sheep. As the owner typically has other business dealings to attend to, and so he has to divide to other slaves to help him make money so that he can have an awesome living, while the shepherd typically doesn't have as great a living as the owner. That's the culture. And so the shepherd has a very strict, very serious responsibility to make sure the sheep don't die. He has to protect them. He has to feed them. He has to make sure that they're taken care of, and he shaves them of their wool so that they could be sold, or made into clothes so that they could be sold, so that the money can be generated for the owner of the sheep. And yeah, even for sacrifices at the temple, the last day supper of the Lamb at the temple, the wedding feast, or spreading blood on the doorposts when you have an exodus upon you. Things like that. Lambs are good for, but you want to make sure that they're used properly and not devoured by the wolves, which costs the owner money, and for which the shepherd would be severely punished, even unto death, as we read in Scripture, if they neglect their duty to care for the flock. And so isn't it great that President Russell M. Nelson is taking on that charge as the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as he warned all of us from his very first conference session, his solemn assembly, when he announced the temples and a major city yet to be determined in Russia. He warned us. It's amazing how prophetic he is, that he would know that we're going to have a temple in Russia, that all of us can cheer that the latter days are upon us. And so last October conference, sure enough, he finally came out and said, these are the latter days. Now everything is clear. We now know it all. These are the latter days. So the signs in the heavens have all happened. The events on earth have all happened. This is it. Jesus is coming. Because sure enough, Nelson has let everybody know that the battle is upon us in Magog. Ezekiel chapter 38. Alright? It's very clear to all Mormons, this is it. This is the end of the world. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to reign supreme upon the face of the earth, as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, will take over all governments to protect Mormons from suffering, death, sickness, poverty. The church is here to save you, because that's what a shepherd does, right? There is no confusion on this. Nelson closed down the Kiev temple, removed the missionaries, and that was all before the United States. Nelson did it prematurely because he knows what's coming, right? He's the good shepherd. He's leading his flock, and all Mormons know the scriptures and know what's coming. We're all prepared with our 5-year supply of food that we've had all this time, because we've been warned, have a 5-year supply of food, because what's coming is going to last for a long time. None of this 48-hour kid or 1 year supply. No, they've instructed us properly to protect us in these latter days, and only the unfaithful don't know their scriptures. Only the unfaithful Mormon is not prepared because they didn't pull themselves up by their own bootstraps to follow and obey the living prophet of God in these latter days, right? For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Matthew 26, verse 31. Matthew 25, verse 32. 31 and 32. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. Right? The shepherd will be smitten, and the sheep will be scattered. What? What's going on? Let's see if Joseph Smith can clear this incorrectly translated Bible. And the enemy came by night, broke down the hedge, and the servants of the noblemen arose and were affrighted and fled, and the enemy destroyed their works and broke down the olive trees. Oh, crap. That was section 101, verse 51. Uh-oh. What the hell's going on? Yeah. There has to be more communication from a shepherd. You can't encode your message to people who you're supposed to protect, assuming that they all know how to decode your message. There has to be a decoding. You can't just do things in secret and expect that Mormons will have faith in you and that they will magically be preserved, protected. Deuteronomy 18, verse 19. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. In Acts, people will be destroyed. Joseph Smith, in his Joseph Smith history, says Mormons will be cut off if they do not listen to this man like Moses. So interestingly, in chapter 19, verse 1, it says cut off. So why does it say require it of him? And why does Acts say destroyed? The redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Therefore, I will raise up unto my people a man who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel. For Mormons are the children of Israel and the seed of Abraham and must be led out of bondage. But we have a prophet who's leading us. He's in the office of Moses. Section 107, verse 91. Prophet, seer, revelator, translator in verse 92. What happened for Joseph Smith to say that some other man, Mormon, has to do what the prophet won't do in the latter days? That the prophet would put Mormons in bondage, like the Great and Abominable Church is said to do to Mormons. Do Mormons even know their scriptures to know this? Is there anybody even telling you and warning you, trying to protect you from the wolves that have you captive? Is there anybody doing YouTube videos or anything to warn you, who reveals unto you the signs in the heavens in the likeness of things on the earth, who notifies you in advance of things that are coming and need to prepare you, who warns you about the Great and Abominable Church exposing their corruption, their crimes, their treason, their sedition, to overthrow the world governments in America, to establish their Luciferian kingdom? Is there anybody doing that for you? Is there anybody who's correctly translating scriptures for you, who knows Hebrew and Egyptian, who's teaching you so that you can learn for yourself? Is there anybody who's a seer, who's exposing the real church history? If only there were such a person. Because it would be a shame for all Mormons to be laid waste like the olive trees. If only there was such a man. If only the scriptures were true. If only the fulfillment sign that is about to take place would be fulfilled on earth. If only. Oh well. It was a fun life, wasn't it? It was a wonderful life. What would the world be like without the church? Without Mormons? Clarence, where are you? By the silvery moon. That was the most awesome scene. George, how dare you? Wow, we got some kind of predicament here. I'll tell your mother.